Here in Rochester, Michigan, talking today with Rochester High School cross-country great Megan Goethals. Megan is back in town, enjoying a nice relaxing summer, and kind of a break from her running at the University of Washington, where she's been for the last 2 years now, and you'll be going back there in the fall. First of all, Megan, congratulations on all your great success.
Thank you.
In cross-country and track.
Thanks.
And most importantly, thanks for taking the time to come out and talk to runmichigan.com.
Oh yeah, no problem.
You are a Michigan person.
Yes.
And we're here in your hometown. Megan, sit back for a second while we get people catch up a little bit on some of your highlights. Megan was a two-time state of Michigan cross-country champion, 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. She ran the fastest time ever at Michigan International Speedway, actually fastest time ever in a cross-country state meet for 5K, 16:54. Megan was the 2009 National Foot Locker cross-country champion. You were part of a girls' state team title in 2007. Gatorade National Girls Cross-Country Runner of the Year in 2009. In high school track, four-time individual state champ in the 1600 and 3200. You're also a member of a state championship team. 2010, I believe, right?
Yep, senior year.
In track. You were national champ at the Nike Indoor Nationals in the 2-mile, national champ at the New Balance Outdoor Nationals, running the second fastest girls 2-mile in U.S. history of 10:01.16, which actually meant that's 2 miles, so actually meant you ran. So
it was I think 9:57 conversion.
Right? 9:57.
Yeah.
And at the Oakland County meet your senior year, you ran a 10:15 3200. That was an exciting race to watch at that. College track and cross country, 6th place at the 2011 D1 Track Nationals, and 15:47.
Yes, yeah, freshman year.
Freshman year. And then last fall you helped your team to a 2nd place overall team finish in cross country at the national meet. And of course this past track season, finishing in 2nd place, barely in 2nd place at the final lean in the 5,000 meters at nationals there. So obviously some great accomplishments for Megan. First off, basically the first question we want to ask you is, when did you know you had the type of talent that you've got? And who or what do you think were your running influences kind of growing up when you first started getting into running?
Well, I think that I didn't really realize like what level I can compete at until I was probably a junior in high school. I had started running a lot earlier. I had started just in like a church league when I was in middle school doing like sprinting and stuff, and I started distance once I got to high school. But yeah, I really didn't think, I mean, my goal had always been to be all-state, maybe one day be lucky enough to get like walk on to a team or something in college, continue my career. But Mr. Adams, Larry Adams, my coach at high school, and Hal Comerson kind of converted me from, I was a basketball player, they converted me to a runner. So they kind of made me take that leap. And my first 2 years, I loved running, but I wasn't really a standout. I was good, but I wasn't a standout. And then my junior year, that's kind of when I had a breakthrough that fall, and really just everything turned around from there.
Right. So you mentioned obviously we're here in Rochester, and a lot of great runners have come from this area. Not only you as a state champion, but your teammate Brooke Handler followed you up after you left with a state championship of her own.
Yes, very exciting.
And also had some great track accomplishments of her own. And Brooke's now at the University of Michigan. Also, way back in the day, Katie Boyles of Rochester Adams High School, a 4-time cross-country state champion. And obviously you mentioned the Hansons group, a lot of great runners in this area. So what is it about this area in Rochester? What do you enjoy most about running around here? And were there any of those other individuals that when you were coming up, any of those I mentioned or anyone else that you kind of fed off of or tried to tried to point after and tried to beat?
What I love about being here is just, I mean, there's so many good trails to run on. I have friends who live in other areas and they're like always complaining. It's like, oh, I just run through neighborhoods or on cement, but we have great training places here. And I've always thought like people from the Midwest are kind of tougher just because it's not always fun to run in like the diverse weather, but I really think it makes you like a tough. I thought it was so cool, like the Hansons team is here, and I remember during like the winters it would be like terrible outside, and I would watch them, like they would always run by my house because we were one of the first streets to get plowed, and I would just feel like they are so awesome. And just, I had a teammate in high school, Tiffany Abrahamian, who ran with me freshman and sophomore year, and she was kind of someone who I wanted to be like. I think she was 5th place her junior and senior year at cross country states, and she was someone I just always kind of followed and tried to do whatever she did, and just I learned a lot from her, and she kind of showed me how to like take running really seriously and really dedicate yourself to it. So she was a big influence.
You jumped big time from freshman, sophomore year, and then junior year, obviously winning the state title.
Yeah.
Was it Tiffany? Who else kind of like were you pointing after there, and what was it back then that kind of made that decision for you? At what point did you say, okay, now I'm going to just start putting in the work that you need to reach those goals?
I think a big turnaround point for me was really my sophomore year. I went to the Foot Locker Midwest meet with Tiffany. She was trying to qualify for nationals, and I went just to kind of like help her train and just like kind of support her because I knew I didn't have a shot. So I went to that meet, and Tiffany only missed it by a couple spots, and I was way back, like in like 70 something, and like I think like 2.5 minutes back from the winner. But I was at that point, I remember I had talked to my mom after the meet, and I was like, you know, next year I want to come and I want to be like a competitor. Like I didn't think, oh, I'm going to come and like qualify for nationals. My goal was to like be a competitor, maybe have my name thrown in there. And I think that was a big turnaround point for me because I really dedicated myself, and like a year from now, this is where I want to be kind of thing. And that was really a big deal because then the next year I came and I ended up winning the region and getting 3rd in the nation, which was, it was really just crazy, the turnaround. I think it was really, you know, my freshman year I had also played basketball, not fully dedicated myself to running yet, didn't know, you know, all there is to know about training wise and just taking care of your body, and I think just kept progressing throughout the years, and I had really good coach, and Keith Shimke and Larry Adams were my coaches, and I think if you look at the girls on the team, it's always, you know, you progress each year. Some teams kind of go backwards, but we always, you know, freshman year, it's not like you're like amazing, and then by the end you can take a couple seconds off, or a couple minutes off your PR. So they did a real good job. Do
you find it mostly with young runners moving up like that? Yeah, generally, it's from you know, talking to them. Generally, it's just a decision. It's a decision to say, you know, the coach is probably telling you that here's what you need to do, but people have to make that decision to say, okay, you know, I want to get to where I want to be, and I'm going to do that work. So that's kind of how it was for you. Yeah.
I mean, I'd always I never like slacked off. I always did what I was supposed to, but I think that it was, you know, I only did the running. Like I thought that was what was going to make me good, and I think something that helped was concentrating on things. I mean, you can only run so many miles. Anyone can just run the miles. You have to put in the little extra things like people don't think about, like maybe like strength training or like sleep, nutrition, just the all-around package kind of deal.
Right.
So.
Right. Was there? You had so many great races in high school.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, like I said, and then once you made that jump, sophomore to junior year, winning a state title, state titles, national meets, track meets, cross-country meets. Was there any race that really stood out for you that was kind of a pivotal turning point for you?
I'd say really probably my junior year we ran the Spartan Invitational, as I think that might have been our first meet of the season, and my goal for the whole season had been to get as close to 18 minutes as I could, and at that meet I ran 17:39 and got the school record, and that was kind of a big point for me, like, oh my gosh, like, did that really just happen? And then like that just turned my mind, that turned all my goals for the season. You know, I had never set a goal of like winning states. I wanted to be, I think at that point, top 10. I was really shooting for at states. So that kind of turned my mind to like, wow, like I could actually like do something here. And that was a big deal.
You mentioned confidence coming out of that Spartan Invitational, cross country wise.
Yes.
Back in 2010, in your final track season, in addition to helping your team to the state title, you were running races and trying to accomplish things that obviously you would never had done, and times that no one in Michigan pretty much had ever done. I remember the 2010 Oakland County meet your senior year. You went out there and tried to attempt to run, I believe the main goal, obviously you were running the 3200, but they tried to set something up there, so you trying to break 10 basically for 2 miles.
Yes, they set up another finish line.
Right, the main goal. You ran 10:01.15
yes.
for 3200. at that race, which still to me was an amazing thing.
Oh, thank you.
And the biggest thing I remember from that night is you went out there, and the closest competitor you had to you was 10:55, I believe.
Yeah.
So you had to do that all by yourself. And I remember talking to you after the race, and you talked about the toughness of running a race like that by yourself. And we talked about how much confidence that gave you, being able to go out there, running 8 laps around a track pretty much by yourself and being able to focus.
Yeah.
So look back to that Oakland County meet, and how much of that, after that race, did that kind of propel you forward, knowing you could go out there, keep your mind in a race, a track race especially, because I know at that time track wasn't more your favorite.
Yeah.
What did that race mean to you? Tell us about that race.
Yeah, that was huge for me. I had really concentrated on that the whole season. At the beginning, my coach and I had picked out that race to try to break 10 at, and I mean, I think that the whole running by myself, I had gotten really good at pushing myself. Just 'cause my whole senior year, I trained alone, just because my junior year I had a couple boys to train with, but my senior year it was just me. So I think that year really improved just my mental toughness. Just because I had to get through runs and workouts even when I didn't feel good, still had to hit my times, and really just had myself to push myself. Right. So I think that race just proved that I was to myself what I could do, because I was if I had people with me, how far could I push myself kind of deal. It really got me thinking if I can run this kind of time by myself, maybe if I had a couple girls with me, I could drop more time. And it was just, honestly, I think after that race, that was probably one of the most accomplished I had felt in a long, probably one of my top moments, just because I didn't break 10 minutes. I was very disappointed about that, but the fact that I had come so close and just done it basically pushing myself was really special.
I know at that time you had talked about you were more nervous going into some track races than you were in cross country, and cross country is easier to get out there and run. If you're racing by yourself, just scenery-wise and all that stuff, and different things to different points in the race to get you going and to make you go faster, points to pick to throw surges and whatever. But so at that time you were not as confident in track.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about track now?
Now I'm a lot more confident in track. It was never one of my favorite things in high school. It was really hard because you run so many races in dual meets and such, and it's just a lot of them turn into more workout types, and it was just the track season was just kind of a grind for me, just get through it kind of thing. Now in college I just enjoy it so much more, because every race is you don't have that many races, so every time just go run your absolute hardest, and I like how it's in college it's not as much about time. In high school I concentrate a lot on time, and I think that was put a lot of pressure on myself, and it made it not as fun anymore. So I feel like my track mentality has improved a lot.